Meliha Altunışık. I'm a professor of international relations at Middle East Technical University in Ankara. I'm here to talk about Turkey-Iran relations. This relationship is interesting because at any given time it entails cooperation as well as competition and at times rivalry. Turkey and Iran are neighbors sharing a border which is more than 500 kilometers. More importantly, that border itself was determined in 1639 by an agreement between the Ottomans and the Safavids. Since then, despite minor adjustments in the early state formation processes in both countries, that border has remained intact. So there are no territorial conflicts between these two neighbors. In addition, economic relations have also developed between Turkey and Iran, especially since 1990s. Particularly in energy field, the two countries cooperated. As a result, Iran has become one of the major providers of natural gas to Turkey. Finally, Turkey and Iran cooperated at times even in security matters. Despite all this, however, Turkey-Iran relations are also characterized by competition and at times rivalry. There's mutual mistrust and threat perception. Kurdish issue is an example of mutual distrust between the two countries. Although both Iran and Turkey are equally disturbed by rising Kurdish nationalism in the region as well as in their own countries, they oftentimes fail to cooperate against this mutual threat perception. Turkey and Iran never confronted each other directly militarily. However, they fought indirectly at times. In addition, Iran and Turkey also engage in competition and rivalry in neighboring regions. In the 1990s, Turkey-Iran relations were particularly problematic. Their domestic politics were very much involved in bilateral relations. At that time, the staunchly secular regime in Turkey, particularly the military, perceived Iranian regime and its activities in Turkey as a threat to regime security. In Iran, on the other hand, Turkey factored heavily in domestic debates between conservatives and the reformists. The conservatives used Turkey as an example to argue what was wrong with secularism. Particularly, the headscarf debate in Turkey at that time was very much factored into domestic debates in Iran. In addition to domestic politics, the changing international and regional context also led to increasing competition between Iran and Turkey. Post-Gulf War Middle East and post-Soviet South Caucasus and Central Asia provided new arenas for increasing competition between Iran and Turkey. At that time, Turkey was aligning its regional policies, both in the Middle East and in Central Asia and the Caucasus, with the United States, which was creating a wedge for Turkey against Iran. On Iran's side, Tehran was perceiving Turkey's alignment with the United States and Israel in its regional policy as a threat to its national security. So the relations deteriorated in the 1990s. This situation changed in 2000s. This was due to two factors. One was the coming of power of Justice and Development Party in Turkey in late 2002, and its zero problems with neighbors policy meant that Turkey's relations with Iran also improved. The second factor was the US invasion of Iraq in 2003. That event changed the regional balance of power, but at the same time perceived as a threat by both Iran and Turkey. So the two countries began to cooperate more in the early 2000s. But even at that time, at the time of cooperation, the two countries were soft balancing each other in the Middle East, in Iraq, in Syria, in Lebanon, and in the Palestinian territories. They were trying to limit each other's influence in the region. The situation changed once again after the Arab uprisings, and the competitive element began to dominate Turkish-Iranian relations. With the Syrian civil war, the competition turned into rivalry once again. The two countries supported the opposite groups in the Syrian civil war, and the relations deteriorated as a result. Although the cooperative elements also began to increase with the Russian involvement and with the start of the Astana process, overall, the Syrian case presents the competitive element, the rivalry element in Turkish-Iranian relations. Even today, Iran perceives Turkey's presence, military presence in northern Syria as a threat, whereas Turkey is disturbed by Iranian influence in Syria. Overall, we can say that Turkey-Iranian relations are therefore influenced by domestic politics as well as regional constellations, and finally, the policies and involvements of great powers. But the important point here is that Turkey-Iran relations is an example of how to manage rivalry. And also, it demonstrates the context where the rivalry escalates and de-escalates. Thank you.